Well, cheers.
Cheers.
Time flies. I can't believe it's, 6 months now that we first met and that you made that fateful decision to join Enotri.
Jumped off a cliff.
Instead of renting an apartment down in Calgary with a beautiful view of the mountains, I decided to hire you. And, I have to admit, I do not regret that decision. I think it's wonderful to have you on board. So my first impressions did not lead me astray. Thank you very much for that.
Mm-hmm.
And now let me switch it around to you. What are after the first 6 months, what are your impressions of Enotri? Did it fulfill your expectations so far? Is there anything in our lineup, in our portfolio, where you say, well, we have this hole to fill?
Starting with the holes in the portfolio, I don't think that there's anything missing. When I came into Enotri, my palate knew BC wine. That's where I was trained, and that's what I knew. But I knew that my philosophy for wine had always been the philosophy that you approached me with. And so when you approached me with the philosophy of Enotri, of knowing thyself and roots matter, and what really matters is the quality of the grape and just everything to do with where the vines come from and the family that makes the wine, grows the vines. That philosophy has been my philosophy since I can remember. And so when you approached me with that philosophy, I was like, this is too good to be true. This is what I believed in. I believe that you should never touch the grape juice once it's in tank. Just leave it and it will show you what it's made from, because it was like that since day one, before humans were around. And so I couldn't believe I met somebody of such a stature with the same philosophy that was so humble and beautiful, and something that my being believed in. And I was trying to get that across to so many people, that wine is not about what you wear, how much money you have, or what you drive, or anything. It has everything to do with the expression of the grape, the part of the world it comes from, and the family history that is behind the blood, sweat, and tears that go into the juice.
That's wonderful.
And that's what I've always believed in. So when you proposed that to me, I almost cried. I was so in disbelief that I had met somebody after all these years that finally understood what I believed in. And 6 months later, we have gone through so many things together, and Alberta has really taken on quite a strong team. I think with you and I, we are the yin and yang. And and I think that with our dynamic, we can cater to almost everybody, and people enjoy seeing us because they get to experience our dynamic.
Different personalities, but same values.
Exactly.
And this is the key. Next year, as you know, I'll be celebrating the 10th anniversary of Enotri.
Yeah.
And it literally took those 9 years, I guess, to find a like-minded partner in you. Many people have worked with me. Well, not that many, but several people have worked with you. It's the first time that I really have the feeling I've met somebody that appreciates the integrity and the passion of our growers, mm-hmm. that shares the same passion for what these wonderful vineyards and these growers can bring to the market, and work our butts off in order to help them get a foothold into our province here. And so far, so good.
Absolutely.
So you touched on a couple of key points, the family aspect of who we work with. So, with respect to the portfolio, if there ever comes a point in time where you feel we're lacking something, or there is something that you would like to see, the way that I normally go about it, I don't say I need a Chardonnay in my portfolio or I need a Pinot Noir in our portfolio. For an example, mm-hmm. What I always look at first is who are the people that are growing the grapes.
Okay.
And in order to get there, I mean, you don't find that in magazines. You don't get that through ratings in whatever wine rating magazine or tool out there. Actually, the one thing that our growers all have in common, none of them believe in those ratings. They simply, they do the best they can in order to have their vineyards produce the best quality fruit, and it shows in the quality of their wines.
Yeah. So
we always look for the synergy between what these growers do and what our beliefs are. None of the families that we represent at Enotri were entered the portfolio without one of us of the team having visited them and shaken their hands and sat down with them and understood and listened to the stories that they had to tell. I'm blessed with having a couple of very good friends living in Europe, so in those days when COVID or the situations do not permit us to travel the way we used to in the past, I have a couple of people over there that understand the philosophy of Enotri, that understand my palette, that know what we're looking for, and so far could always trust their recommendations. And actually, this is a good example here.
Phenomenal.
So this is a rosé wine. We're approaching the last days of summer, first days of fall, but this is the kind of rosé wine that goes year round.
Yeah.
When I first entered the wine consuming world as a 14, 15-year-old, which was totally legal in the country that I grew up in, I did it with a wine of this nature, a dry rosé wine, beautiful, versatile wine, clean. The family here, a couple that made their fortunes in high-end fashion boutiques, decided to sell that business and invest the proceeds into historic properties, bringing up to par again organic viticulture, a minimum, and then they also invested into setting up high-end hotels in Europe. They're known as Relais Chateau. And part of the hotel setup is then also a Michelin star restaurant. So the Cuvée Alphonse from Domaine de Fontenille is one of those gastronomic wines, a beautiful rosé wine.
Mm-hmm.
Blend of Grenache and Syrah, and aged for about 9 months in barrique.
Stunning.
So this is not your light-bodied, and nothing wrong with those styles of wine either, to knock it back on a Saturday afternoon and sitting on the patio. This is a very complex, serious style of rosé. Mm-hmm. Wonderful with any kind of Christmas turkey or Thanksgiving turkey or any complex meal for that matter.
Yeah, you can taste the layers. So just layer after layer of flavor.
And at the bottom of the glass, you find the map of the landscape of the vineyard where that is from. You can really taste the handwriting of the cellar master. I don't like to use the word winemaker for the partners that we work with.
Yeah.
But you can taste the care and the love that was given first of all to the vines in the vineyards, and then it continued in the cellar.
And that's what matters to me, is giving the vines the love, because in the end, you treat a vine like a human. When I worked in the vineyard and I saw them standing with their arms out like that, when they're tied down, it just reminded me so much of a person standing with their arms out, waiting for the rain, waiting for the sun. And it's up to them to grow their fruit.
Absolutely.
Truly.
There's no other beverage around, at least to my knowledge, that is a better reflection of life.
Yeah.
Anything that life gives us, joy, some sadness, celebration, romance, whatever, like wine.
Totally.
Cheers to
And
that.
cheers to that. Life in a glass.